Hi, everybody. Welcome. We have a little bit of a glitch going on with our website today. It's our security that we seem to have locked out people that are not logged in, and we really want to make this available to people. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and start, and then we'll put this up on the site just really quick right afterwards, and we'll also put it on YouTube so that everybody will be able to see it. But welcome today. I got to get rid of my coffee here. The group actually called me out for drinking coffee the other day in the Lightmaster course. Yeah, in channel they said, well, what is it? Anyway, so I'll get into that another time. But we're so happy you're here today. What we're going to do here right off the bat, I want to check my karma. What do you think? We're going to do this every day because I love M&Ms. Oh, I got karma today. Look at that. I got 3 of them. That's not bad. I'll eat those later because I don't want to go into sugar shock right now. But anyway, we check karma all the time with this one. So welcome today. Glad you're all here. We've got a lot going on today, so I want to try and bring this to you as quickly as we can. I will say that Meg had a glitch today. We seem to have technical issues everywhere in different places. Sandy had some difficulties. Another person, Will, had some challenges with some of the things that he's doing, and Meg's computer blew up. So we're not going to be hearing from Meg today at all, but she'll be back with us here pretty soon. I did want to say one thing real quick. Crossing the Veil is out. It's doing rather well for right now. I'm real pleased with it. I haven't done any promotion on it at all. We are having it translated, and again, if anybody is interested in helping to translate, just fill out that little form there. I always do it backwards. It's down at this side. No, it's down at this side. See, I always do it backwards. You got to be careful what you tell yourself, right? We're creator beings. Anyway, fill that question mark in there if you're interested in helping. We've got a lot of people that are already working on it. We hope to make this available in as many languages as possible on Amazon. We have the first books. My first books were translated into 18 languages. Well, 17 languages. 18 is English. So they were translated into 17 languages. We want to get these back out in a different way. Now, I know that kind of eliminates the stores, but many of the publishers that published my original books are no longer in business. So rather than try to make all the rounds and everything, we're going to see if we can do it a little bit different way. And then hopefully we'll be approached by some of the publishers that see how we're doing with it. Here's the first one. It's in Turkish, and I'm really honored to have this. Semra does an incredible job with this, and Semra is the publisher in Turkey, and she has already published the first one in Turkish. So we're really pleased to be doing that and bringing out a whole new energy with that. One other thing I want to make a quick announcement about is that I will be doing private sessions again. We're going to be starting them in December. We don't have it completely set up in the store yet, but watch the front page of the website. That's the best way to do it. There is a waiting list that will get first crack at this. So as soon as we get it all completely set up, I think it is, but it's not on the website yet. You don't have a link to get in there. So we're going to send it out to the people that were on the waiting list first and have them be able to take things there too. Also, Lightmasters. Lightmaster is open for anyone to join at any time. You don't need to wait until the end of the year. We have switched around everything now, and what we've done is we've provided a special library just for Lightmasters to be able to go in and catch up, so they don't have to ask a bunch of questions on things that we do every week and every month. So we had some wonderful Lightmaster courses the last couple days. I'm really honored to be doing that again, and the response to it has been incredible. The Lightmasters are really happy to be back together. It's a very intimate team that we bring together and work together in different ways. And the group usually brings in the latest material right there, and then we'll turn it around. This next month, starting on December 2nd and 9th, we'll be doing the new one, which is New Directions. This is all kind of a continuation of the Superconscious series that we've been doing, the Superconsciousness trainings. And what this is it started a little while back with the Great Reset, where we kind of took the planet and shook it and see where everybody landed. Well, now we're working with different things with new body templates, new body energies, and so forth that we did. And we're also going to be working with new directions. Now that we've been shaken up and landed in a new place, how do we step forward? How do we move into that? And the group not only wants to talk about that, they want to give you some tools. So the first 2 days of next month, which is always on a Friday, which would be the 2nd and the 9th, we'll be doing new directions. The following 2 days, and at least one more day, and sometimes 2 more days, depending on what the group says, we'll go to the Lightmasters. So if you sign up for Lightmaster, you get all of it. Real simple. If you just want to sign up for the 2 days, you can sign up for that at a reduced price. We try to make it very reasonable for people so you can kind of feel what it's like and so forth. Also, Lightmaster, you can join up at either a 6-month commitment or a 12-month commitment, but I will also tell you, you can cancel at any time. There you go. We're trying to make it just as easy for people as we can. We know everybody's going through some challenging times here on the planet right now, and we are too, but the group says if we just extend that and move forward in our own faith, we'll make it work. Okay, I got a few things to cover for you real quick. Let me have a seat here. We'll let the old karma machine go for right now. But I think I'm going to bring that in anyway. It's kind of a fun way to tell what's going to be happening during the show sometime. Actually, I usually get about 6 or 7. So the fact that I only got 3 probably illustrates why we're having a little challenge on the website right now. But anyway, welcome today, and very honored to be with everybody here and playing this wonderful game of pretending to be a human. So with that, let's take a quick look here. Got a couple things going on that I want to share with you. I got to find the right button first. There we go. This is the Global Light program for November 26th today, and we are moving at the speed of love, which is slightly faster than the speed of light. Okay, and this is Espavo. We're going to be working with quite a few things here today to be able to do this. Welcome home, everybody. Welcome home. We did, like I said, we had quite a Lightmaster course the last couple of days. If you are a Lightmaster, you might want to go check it out, because not only did we do the last Lightmaster course of the month, but we also did a question and answer, which are always fun. I really enjoy those because I don't actually channel during those. What I do is Steve gets to talk about what happens to me, what the group tells me, and what happens kind of behind the scenes and so forth. So Lightmaster is turning out to be a very beautiful, wonderful connection. I absolutely loved having these Lightmaster courses. They're good for me. They're wonderful for me. You can see I'm kind of beaming again. So anyway, I'm thrilled to be here with you today. I'm sorry about the difficulties. If you're one of the people that had to watch this later because we had that challenge, I promise you we will fix this, even if I have to put it at a different site, because we put in so much security. And let me go ahead and talk about that. We did have quite a lot of challenges this last month, because we did get into an energy where we had some challenges. We basically had someone break into the site. Well, it was more than just one. There was a huge attack on the site. We caught it right away. We do have a professional service that watches all of this. It's rather expensive too, and they're responsible for it. They go in and take care of it right away. But we did have to shut down for just a short time to do that. So I sent out an email, and I have to tell you, the response I got was absolutely incredible. I was so proud and so touched by so many of you writing to me, offering your help. Some of you had technical knowledge. Some of you just said, "Don't worry, Steve, we got it. We'll be back when you fix it. No problem." And many times that can be a real problem, because people really get scared of, do they have my information? No, we did not lose any information. What they did was they took over our front page, and a little man came out, cute little cartoon character, and said, "We're trying to validate to make sure you are who you say you are." And then you put your email in, and then they had your email. That's what it was all about. But we had this sneaking suspicion, and I wrote it back in the email, that this might be because we're not just getting attacked here. We are getting attacked on YouTube, big time. Now, YouTube is very difficult to attack, but they can do it by doing the copyrights, by making false copyright claims against us. And I tell you what, they're coming in at the rate of 15 to 20 a week right now. Fortunately, we have a really wonderful staff member on hand, Nick Pneumatikos in Greece. I hope I got that timing right. In Greece is our big hero. He not only was able to locate the original break-in and cap it very quickly, but he worked with a team that is a professional team that watches us as well. We also have internal software. This is maybe where we're having difficulty opening up our page today. We're not sure, but we will fix it. I promise you this will be the last time we have this one. And it's normally simulcast at YouTube, but we have so many attacks at YouTube. I passed on that today, unfortunately. So the people at YouTube are going to have to wait until this is over, and then I will upload it to YouTube as well. But I wanted to not broadcast it live on YouTube today because of all the incredible attacks that we have. I usually play music before and after. And anytime I use music, we get attacked, plain and simple. People claim that it's their music, even though I paid for it and so forth. It's absolutely insane how YouTube does it. YouTube will give us a strike if we get caught using something and refuse to take it down. 3 strikes and you're out of there. They close your site down, plain and simple. But they don't give any penalties for the people who make false claims. And that is happening massively. I've talked about this before. This is not new. But it is new that we're getting these huge numbers here. And we all kind of wondered. I wonder if this is because Steve keeps talking about Putin all the time and Putin's war. Well, if it is, I'll tell you right. Yeah, that's Putin's war. Absolutely. And if so, bring it on, buddy. Bring it on. We will find ways. We've already got other things set up to be able to get our signals out if we need to, but bring it on, because I tell you what, I'm not going to back down from that. And I'm not talking about Russia. I'm not talking about Russian people. I'm talking about Putin. This is Putin's war that's happening in the Ukraine, and it's unbelievably cruel. And only for particular gain of you trying to put back the Soviet Union. Very simple. And with that, and of course, the West is the bad guy. And it used to just be the United States, but now it includes all of NATO and all of Europe and so forth. So anyway, if you're Russian, please know that we're not talking about you. We have a lot of our Russian family. I've been to Russia many times. I love these people. I love your culture. We miss your culture and influence in the rest of the world because of the incredible isolation that's going on. We'd love to have you back. And many of you come here. Many of you are already members of different things here in Espavo. So thank you for that. And know that we're going to call this Putin's war because that's what it is. It's not about Russia. It's about Putin. And we hope that changes. That's the best we can do. Send our love to the Ukraine and the energy that's going on there. Of course, you may know right now the atomic generation plant is under attack. It's kind of strange because if they end up with a huge cloud of radiation, you got about a 70% chance that it's going to end up in Russia. Doesn't make much sense what they're doing, but they're just plain trying to destroy what they couldn't take over. So anyway, if that's the case, hang on. I promise you I will send out anything to the entire list, which is well protected, by the way. And so are your credit cards and everything else. They were not able to get anywhere close to those things. And we're even moving a lot of that stuff completely off-site. So I will tell you that we're prepared for it. And I just want to thank you for being so kind. And so many of you wrote with technical assistance. I haven't been able to even respond to all of you yet. Thank you so much for being a part of this family. You've really touched me with that. Now, let's go on with some of the news for the day because we do have some sad news here. We've lost a dear friend. Fred Sterling passed away about a week or two ago. I don't know the exact date, but Fred Sterling was a very dear friend. He's been with us for a long time. We've done seminars together. We have a lot of people that have gone back and forth between the different families to be able to connect and find out different things in different ways. Master Cariel called him home. I talked to Patty the other day, his wife, and she told me that basically what took place was that he was setting up their meditation for their evening meditation. He was setting up their little altar, and she was in the kitchen, and she called out to him, and he did not answer, which is exactly the way he wanted to go, very quickly. So, Fred, you got your wish. Watch over us, will you? Keep an eye on all of us. Thank you, my friend. If you have anything that you'd like to donate to that, rather than flowers or anything else, send it to the Honolulu Church of Light. That is exactly where it will go. You have a website down below. You can always stop this. And by the way, this is a live stream, but we have really good technology. You can actually stop this right now at any point. You can put it on pause. You can even back it up. Now it's live, so you can't go forward. Well, you can back it up and then go forward a little bit, but it is a different type of situation. So anytime that we show something like that, just put it on pause, write it down, or come back to it at a later time. So thank you all again for being with us. And Fred, thank you. And Patty, we are all with you, my dear. Thanks so much for being with us. Okay, lots going on today, so I want to try and get through some of this before I get into the first channel. We are starting to do a podcast of this GlobalLight broadcast. That is new, and I don't have all the information yet. I wasn't able to get it just before here. We did it last month for the first time. I believe it's only going up in one place at this point, but when we get settled in, we'll try to get it out to as many places as possible. But we are turning this into a video podcast. It will also be available as an audio podcast in a short time. So we are kind of stretching out into the technology and the energies, and we thank you for being such a part of that too, because we are going through this. So we've covered that. We've covered the other point. Now, let me tell you what the group's been telling me. And we talked about some of this in the Lightmaster group yesterday and the day before. No, actually, yesterday we had two of them. So I did the last number 4 Lightmaster class, and then we did the question and answers, because they have a special email that they can send to people to directly to me, which I answer once a month. And that's when many times I'll tell them things that the group is telling me kind of behind the scenes, or things that are going in a certain direction that they'd like to share with people. And by the way, we talked about the private sessions. Lightmasters get a $100 discount off of those sessions. Sessions are $395 for 45 minutes. If you are a Lightmaster currently, we give you a $100 discount off that. We want to make it just as easy and simple. And thank you for your own support of being the Light Masters that you are. The group calls them the Masters of the Light. They always like to turn around and come up with their own words sometimes. But we hit a very interesting point on planet Earth. Now, the group kind of disagrees with the timing of this. They actually say it's going to happen in another month. But the United Nations just announced that we now have 8 billion people on planet Earth. Now, the group has talked quite a lot about this, not for recently, but about a year ago and probably about 7 or 8 months ago, they gave specific channels on what happens when planet Earth hits 8 billion. What happened, what they said, was that she's going to have to rebalance. Very simple. She's having difficulty keeping all of us alive. And we're seeing it. We're seeing it in Portugal. We're seeing the fires in Spain. We're seeing the fires that always happen in California. We're seeing fires and famine now. We're seeing the famine hit Portugal. We're seeing different things that are starting to take place all over the globe. And most of them have to do with water. Well, if you remember, right, we've been talking quite a long time about the redistribution of water on planet Earth and what the group has said about that. Now, I'm trying to bring the group into what we need right now. The group is really good at giving you long-term predictions and the directions we're going. And when people get into things like we're into right now, high gas prices, inflation, everything, they're not really interested in what's going on there. We want to know the next step. So I'm trying to hone them in a little bit to get the next step instead of necessarily what's down the road. But we hit this one. And this is the 8 billion mark. What does it mean? Well, first thing we're going to do is bring it to everyone's attention. And the United Nations has been doing wonderful work with that. Not just the UN, this is CNN's website. They're everywhere is talking now about this 8 billion mark. What happens when she rebalances? Well, there's several things that can happen. She can shut down. Very simple. We can lose our place to live. It's not going to happen right away, but we're probably looking at 80, 100 years from now. And that's not the best scenario, obviously. Are there other alternatives? Yes. She has opportunities to heal and to correct. And she has more of those now, today, than she's ever had because we have so much awareness of it. It wasn't that long ago that we had a whole bunch of people who were climate change deniers and basically saying, no, that's not true. We don't need to do anything. We don't need to do that. And a lot of it was for political reasons, so I won't put too much energy into that, but they're not saying that anymore. Pretty much everyone is aware that we're going through massive changes. And that is a huge part that all of us can do. So we can make a difference here. And we don't have to turn this planet into Mars, which the group says we did on Mars. The group said we were on Mars. We incarnated on Mars for a very long time. And they will find that. They will find evidence of that. Right now, they're just discovering the water that is on Mars that nobody thought was there, but it's underneath. It's like an aquifer, and they're starting to find quite a few of them. So this is going to get interesting going forward because when we first started working to discover Mars, the group said, yes, you will find life on Mars, and it will be yours. They'll find evidence of previous life along with life that is there now, but very small microbiotic things and so forth with that. But there's a lot going on with this. Let's pay attention to it and really come to an awareness of what's going on. That is why the group was calling me out for the coffee. And basically, if you look this one up, you'll find that 1 cup of coffee takes about 38 gallons of water to make. Now, if we're going to start to be water conscious, we're going to have to rethink a whole lot of things, but it's time to do that right now. Water will be the major problem, and they've been saying this for years with the redistribution of water. Water is a major problem everywhere on planet Earth, either too much, too little, or too dirty. Those are the 3 problems we have. And of course, we're seeing lack of water here and huge amounts of water over the other place that can't handle it. I live in Las Vegas. We're in trouble here. We basically are. Not just us. We have a lake very close to here that feeds 7 states and part of Mexico. And they're getting ready to cut off Mexico. I wonder how that's going to work. So anyway, there's a lot going on with that whole process. Let's become aware of it. Let's start working on it together. And today, when we start working with the healing circle, which we'll do in a few minutes, we will work and put the earth in there and start to work with the calming down of the redistribution of water on planet Earth. Okay? Good. Now, what else? Well, you might have noticed the divine feminine is rising. It was a couple months ago that Merlia came in, did the channels, the final channel, and I have to tell you, she was really upset. She was not happy. She was not a happy lady, plain and simple. And what was it all about? Well, I'm not sure I can tell you all of it, but she was just very frustrated with humans, plain and simple. And we weren't getting it. We weren't understanding. We weren't doing it. We were falling into the fear. And that changed. That's starting to change. She will be here today. She will do the last channel today to bring us through and tell us a little bit more about the divine feminine rising in so many ways. What are we looking at? Well, we're actually looking at a lot of things. The biggest challenge about it is we are always trying to be controlled in different ways with different things, usually through fear. Well, you may have found different things that were taking place, especially in the United States around the elections. It was aimed at women. Guess what? The women stood up. And not just the women, but the feminine energy, which is held by many people. I'm really trying hard to hold as much of that as I can. That's why I'm wearing pink today. Yeah, like that? But anyway, the whole process of this is being able to walk in this energy and hold this for all of us. But the divine feminine is absolutely rising, and it's a huge change, because up to this point on planet Earth, the masculine energy was always about the strongest survival of the fittest. And the male energy, or the masculine energy, I'll say, is basically all around force, using force, being the strongest, being the most powerful, being all that, being the richest, all that energy. That is starting to change. And we're seeing it globally. You not only saw it here in the elections in the United States, but you're really seeing it in one other place, and that is Iran. Iran, the women are doing incredible. They've already changed the planet. They have absolutely changed the planet with what they have done already. Now, yes, they're under massive attack. The group talked a lot about it yesterday in the Lightmaster course. They talked about difficulties and the things that are actually happening to them. We don't need to go into that, but it is really nasty stuff. They've taken in like 15,000 people into custody, and they are executing them. Very simple. Much worse than that. But nonetheless, the women have changed this planet. And we should absolutely, all of us, support them, not just in Iran, but everywhere. We had a walk down the strip here. It was a kind of a gathering of women, not just women, but men too, having a parade down the strip. They closed down the strip. It costs a lot of money. Now, I don't know exactly how that all happened, whether they actually had permits or not, but the police were there and they blocked off the streets. They literally let that whole thing take place in the way that we did. I was very proud of things that were going on in Las Vegas around that. So there's a lot to that and a lot that's going on with that. The United Nations themselves have found a very interesting thing, because on November 23rd, 2022, just a couple days ago, they declared that this was going to be the official day for the elimination of violence against women. How wonderful. We're starting to see it. We're starting to see all kinds of things pop up to empower the feminine energy. Not just women. Well, sometimes they call it women, but it's much more than that. It's the feminine energy that's rising, a new way to work on planet Earth. Very, very powerful, and we are so honored to be here working with that at that point. You can check out some of the things that the United Nations has done. Actually, if you can Google any of this and come up with incredible things that are taking place on our planet right now. Well done. Well done to all of you. Lightworkers tend to hold a light energy. They don't typically work by force. So you're holding a lot of feminine energy already. We're making space for it in the world, in our governments, in our rules, all the rest of it is absolutely incredible. And we should be very proud. I know Merlia is. She'll tell you a little bit later about some of that as we go through the final channel of the day. Also, today is day 330 out of 356 days. And in that time, we have now had, as of this morning, we have 610 mass shootings in the United States. Why am I bringing that up now? Am I anti-gun? No, I had guns when I was a kid. I lived out in the woods and had wonderful time with them. But the assault rifles? I don't think so. I would never. Anyway, that's me. That's my personal opinion. But there's an interesting fact about this. And I brought it up last month. I want to bring it up again. Out of those 610 mass shootings, none of them were created by women. All of these are men. And that leans pretty heavily to validate some of the facts and things that we were talking about. So let it begin with us. Right now, take a deep breath and just thank your heart for that feminine energy. Allow it to spread. Allow it to be part of your light. Absolutely magical, dear ones. Well done. And by the way, happy Thanksgiving to everybody who's been working for it. We had in the United States, we had Thanksgiving. which is actually a creation day according to the group. The highest creation tools you can use on planet Earth are gratitude. So when you stop and think of what you're grateful for, you're actually creating more of it. So let's be grateful for the rise in feminine energy. One other piece of that is the inflation. Let's talk about that because it's one of the things that are right in front of all of us. We're all dealing with gas prices, with inflation and everything else. Again, we talked about this in Lightmaster at length yesterday. I'll just give you a little flavor of what they said. But what we said was very simple. We were being controlled. And a lot of the inflation is intentional. Now, because of the inflation going up, our central bank, our Federal Reserve, started raising interest rates, which creates other things. It's the only tool they have to fight inflation. Does it work? The group said, not really. It's not going to work. We're going to see things go up, but you're also going to see interest rates stay high for a while. And we have a lot of weaknesses in our entire banking industry right now, which is built on masculine energy, built on. You got to keep in mind interest rates. The whole idea of interest rates is only about 100 years old, so it's still fairly new here, and we're going to see some huge cracks in the system for some of these things that are taking place. So we'll talk more about that at another time. But the inflation, if it was done even partially intentionally, it was done to create fear and sometimes to motivate people. In reality, the group told us that it was meant to make people vote a certain way in the United States. And that can be really challenging sometimes. You may have noticed that about 2 weeks before the elections, gas prices went through the roof. Mohammed bin Salman, MBS from Saudi Arabia, even though he had made a commitment to not raise gas prices with OPEC, went right into the OPEC meeting and raised gas prices. What do you think that was about? And if the group is correct about this, you're going to start seeing gas prices come down fairly quickly. Well, that has actually happened. So we see gas prices on a regular basis, but you're also seeing a lot of things that are going on now. I believe, we had the wrong one. But I believe our gas prices now, down to $3.56 nationwide today. Now, California is probably the worst. They're still at $5 and some odd cents. Here in Nevada, we're $4.35 is our average. So we've got different things that are taking place in different places. Does anybody really know why that is? Well, California has a lot of taxes on there, so we can say some of that because they are percentage taxes. And so when the prices go up, the taxes go way up. But there's a lot to this that's going on too. And if that is the case, even though OPEC has now stopped or slowed down production intentionally to raise prices, you're going to see prices drop. And it's happening right in front of us right now after the elections. So be aware that that's what the group is talking about. You may disagree with a lot of this, and that's fine. We're not here to tell you which way to think or what to think about. We're here to offer different perspectives, and you can make your own choices fairly easy through that process. But that's where we're at with a lot of the things that are taking place right now. So welcome, everybody. I'm going to go into channel here for just a minute and bring in the rest of, I don't know who's coming in right now. I don't know if observers coming in or the keeper of time or who's coming in today. Not Ilra. But I will say Ilra's coming in January. He's already told me we're working with new directions. He wants to work with new rhythms. So the first 2 days in January, on the first 2 Fridays, all of our events now are on Friday except for this one. All that will be in January. Ilra wants to take us to set some new rhythms. So I'm looking forward to that. We haven't seen Ilra in a while. Planet's been just a little bit too serious for him. He goes, "Oh, you humans, go play your game. I'll be in later." And he's coming back in. So I'm thrilled with that. So anyway, enough of the brain right now. Let's move into the heart a little bit. Take a deep breath with me and just kind of shake your hands and lose it. Settle back a little bit. I'm going to do the same. Actually, I'm going to take a drink of my coffee without guilt. because I've only got a little tiny bit in the cup. I only had one cup today. It's one of my addictions, and I'm now going to have to lose, or the group's going to be on me about some of that. Anyway, we've got a lot of things that we can work on together to learn a little bit about water and what that means. So anyway, with that, let's take a breath. I'm going to do my spiral meditation. Greetings, dear ones. I am the keeper of time. I join you this day, for you are in a magical time of change. Yes, we know. Many of you think it great difficulties on earth, and they are. But humans don't really do change well, do they? Well, that can change entirely. A lot of things are shifting on your planet. And as a result, we see much of what is going on. It's hard for you to see what we see, but we are so proud of what you're doing. You must understand that. You are making massive headway, even in the darkness, in the places where you cannot see. So welcome home, dear ones. Welcome to the new planet Earth. Now with that, we're going to share with you just a little bit about some of the beautiful things going on that can happen with 8 billion people now on planet Earth. So let us start with that and simply tell you that now that she is reweighing things, yes, there are different things that can happen. Are you in danger? Well, you're in danger every day if you call it in danger, but not really. You're playing a game of pretending to be a human when you're truly a spirit. Your spirit deep within, and your spirit can never be in trouble. It can never be hurt. You do divide off into the multiple dimensions of planet Earth. You're actually 11 of you, 12 plus your higher self. But in each of those, you carry a little bit of imperfection because nothing on Earth can be perfect. And yet, you're starting to come back together. And that is causing all sorts of shifts and changes on your planet. There are things on your planet right now that are developing rather well. And we'll tell you that that is something that you can all look forward to. Some of this has to do with technologies that are coming to help harmonize with the earth. You know, you've been working for quite some time to be able to take the salt out of water. It's been one of the biggest challenges that you have because you only have a limited amount of fresh water on the planet. And that is a rather interesting situation because that is starting to change. You even see the middle part of California has now dropped almost 14 inches because of the pumping of water coming out of the aquifers. The lands are changing. At some point, even the underground water on many of the aquifers will dry up. Now, in the United States, you have a huge aquifer right in the middle of the state, right in the middle of all of the states. You've not actually tapped into that one yet. So there are plenty of opportunities, but they're going to take technologies to be able to get to them. So don't fear that. Encourage it. Find ways of working in harmony with the earth. Now, the technologies, of course, many times are run by the motivation of money. And we'll tell you that for quite some time, you've been balancing as a society. Are we going to put money before people? Money has won out almost every single time until recently. And that's why we are so excited. You're starting to put humans first before money, and that's difficult because money is one of those short steps that everyone is concerned with at this moment. We will be working with that. As Ilra brings in the January, in the new year, we'll also tell you that he's going to be working with abundance rhythms and abundance activations to be able to naturally build a bubble of nature around you. Maybe not money, but wouldn't it be wonderful to live on a planet where you didn't even need money? where you had abundance in so many areas that you may have money but not rely on it the way that you have to do right now? Changes are coming on your planet. Now, with the changes, many times they look very difficult, but you're up for the job. And now that the divine feminine is starting to rise, you have wonderful opportunities to make this work in all new ways. So take a breath, dear ones. Let's focus on the earth. Let's focus on her in general. And let's put her in the healing circle this day and make it opportunities for us to connect our hearts to her and to make a harmony in a new way. So take a breath. Let your eyes close if you wish. Find the very center of your being. We are placing this entire broadcast into a time bubble so that when everyone sees it, even if it's 2 years from now, they can be a part of this energy and add to this energy that we are building this day. So with that, take the earth and all of her beings, because she's not just a piece of dirt or a piece of rock. It includes all the cetaceans, it includes all the mammals, it includes all the fish, it includes the rocks as well as the plants. Every aspect of biology is all of planet Earth, for you are spirits borrowing those bodies for a short time. And she lets you do that. She builds that space for you to grow. She too is multidimensional. And she has many of the aspects that she needs, even held within some of her other dimensions. So right now, let's allow her to connect with her other dimensions of time-space and to draw on the things that she needs the most right in this moment. Take a breath. Open your heart chakra and send it out as a beam of light all around you. Well done, dear ones. Well done. You're making more of a difference than you could possibly know. Now, with that beautiful healing circle begin, let us focus on the humans. Because yes, you are going through change, and change is not easy. It's one of the most difficult things you do. Once you get into a body and you get into a society and you start building your lives, the idea is to make things easy so you don't have to struggle. So when you find yourself struggling, you think something is wrong. It is not. You're making massive movements with these struggles. If you turn around and look at just some of the major belief systems that are needed on this earth, for instance, to recognize that you can have an effect on global warming, that you can have a huge effect in harmony with Earth. Just a short time ago, huge amounts of you did not believe that. That is advancement. And yes, it is kind of late in the game for some, but nonetheless, that is the purpose of planet Earth, to find those movements. So with that, many of people have taken on things. Many have come in with contracts to carry illness. Oh yes, you can learn all sorts of things from that. You can learn things, you can teach others through your own challenges. Every single one of you is carrying something big that you brought here to work with. Some of you have worked with them. Some of you have found ways of easing your pain. Some of you have found ways of easing your own physical illnesses as well. But those of you who wish to, step forward into this circle right now and allow all of us, including the earth herself, to send you healing energy. Take a deep breath. And as you let it out very slowly, open your heart chakra. Let that feeling move through you completely. Well done, dear ones. And those of you in the center, open your heart chakra and receive, for that is not easy, of humans who have been struggling and trying to gain your strength. Some of you have managed to close off to keep the illnesses from you. Open now and receive the love that all of us are sending. We send it from our side of the veil all the time, and yet only in brief intervals do you allow it into yourselves. It is much easier to receive when you receive it from another human. So do that now. Take it in. Allow those seeds of health and change to anchor in your being. Feel that light growing. Well done. A deep, slow breath now to anchor it in. Let it out slowly as you ignite the parasympathetic side of your nervous system. One more time. You can feel your vagus nerve lighting up. Beautiful. Many of you have just added days, weeks, and months to your own life by doing that. Do it often. Learn your way of reaching that level, and you will find peace in so many ways. Well done, dear ones. We now close the healing circle for this day, for there is much work to do. We will come to recharge you from time to time, to give you some of the energy you need to make these changes and to anchor them into a new level of love on planet Earth. We plan on even giving lessons on being a human at some point, for the spirit does not always know how to do that. We'd like to give human lessons for the spirit. They're coming. They will be down the road a bit, but it is in motion. Well done, all of you. I am the keeper of time, and I ask you to treat each other with respect. Nurture one another at every opportunity and play well together. You're creating something magical. Aspavo, dear ones. While I recuperate here, I'll bring in one of our favorite people, Sandra Sedgbeer.
Researched and compelling books on reincarnation, written by respected psychologists and MDs like Dr. Brian Weiss, Dr. Ian Stevenson, Dr. Michael Newton, Carol Bowman, and more. Excuse me. But I don't think I've ever come across a book like the one I'm going to share with you today, which raises some questions about whether past lives are really our past lives. Before I start describing the book, let me tell you a bit about the author. Stéphane Alix is a French journalist and a former war correspondent who became interested in the question of the afterlife following the death of his brother in Afghanistan. Stéphane is the writer and director of the French TV series Extraordinary Investigations, and he's the founder of the Institute for Extraordinary Experiences, or for research on extraordinary experiences. In June 2013, on the death of his father, Stéphane set up an experiment designed to test the possibility of communication with the afterlife. Telling no one, he hid several objects in his father's coffin, and several months later, he visited a number of mediums with the aim of testing them. The results, which were stunning, are recounted in his book, Le Test, The Test, which was a great success in France and has since been translated into several languages. But it's Stéphane's latest book, When I Was Someone Else, the incredible true story of past life connection, that I want to share today. Because part of what made this book so compelling for me was the sheer amount of proof that Stefan uncovered. So, here's the story. While on a spiritual retreat in Peru, Stefan experienced a vivid waking vision in which he saw a World War II soldier being shot in the neck and dying on a snowy battlefield. The details revealed in that vision included the soldier's name, which was Alexander Herman. It also showed other scenes from Alexander's earlier life, which included a young girl who Stefan thought might have been the soldier's daughter. Stefan was completely baffled by this vision, and he couldn't understand why he felt so intimately connected with this German officer. Who was he? Had he really existed? And why was Stefan experiencing this compelling vision? He was totally mystified and unable to forget the experience. He became obsessed with finding the truth. So he launched into a meticulous investigation. And it took a while, but there were some amazing synchronicities that occurred to help him uncover official documentation which confirmed that Alexander Herman was indeed a German soldier who had died in World War II during the 1914 Russian campaign. Absolutely stunned, Stefan began retracing Alexander's past. He made several trips to the German town where Alexander Herman had lived, where he also found that the other images accompanying the battle scene in his vision were of people who truly existed and were close to Alexander. Diving deep into German military archives, meeting Alexander's surviving family, the members of his surviving family, and following his own intuitive hunches, Stefan learned that Alexander had been a part of the infamous SS. Now, as a young man, Stefan had been both deeply disturbed and fascinated by violence. And he really wanted to understand what caused people to become violent. So indeed, that was one of the reasons why Stefan became a war correspondent in Afghanistan in the first place. So on discovering Herman's connection with the SS, he naturally broadened his investigation to explore what had driven Alexander Herman to become part of such a much feared and later greatly reviled organisation. For a time, Stefan wondered whether this German soldier was himself in a past life. But as his investigation progressed and he decoded more of the events surrounding it, he began to wonder whether this wasn't about reincarnation at all. The more he discovered, and there were some brutal events in Alexander's experience, the more Stefan began to feel that it was his own work with the paranormal and his own unresolved feelings over the death of his brother and his father that made him particularly sensitive to the veil between life and death. And that for some reason, this dead soldier's soul was coming to Stefan in search of forgiveness and healing for himself, as well as for the victims of his actions during the war. Reading Stefan's book is like reading a riveting detective story, a thriller that takes you on a harrowing journey back into the darkest days of World War II. But it's, as I said, it's absolutely riveting. It offers a fascinating, I think, exploration of visions, synchronicities, reincarnation, and the connections between the spiritual and the physical planes. It also shares a powerful message of healing after death, along with the profound epiphany that light needs darkness to be perceived. I interviewed Stefan for my radio show, What is Going On the Om Times Media Media's radio network. And I also interviewed him for the No BS Spiritual Book Club, where this book also features as one of my bookworms. So if you want to read an excerpt from the book to see whether it's something that you would enjoy, there's the title. This is what it looks like. Visit the nobsspiritualbookclub.com, click on the Sandy's Bookworms tab, and you can download an excerpt. You'll also find a link to my interview in which Stefan shares his story with me. Now, while you're there, you might want to check out our ever-growing library of 10 best lists from trusted authors, speakers, and teachers, some of whose names you will recognize, whom I personally have invited to share the 10 best spiritual books that influenced them the most on their life journeys. And if you're tired of some of the spiritual fluff that's out there, and you're looking for books that are really worth your time and money, I invite you to sign up for our monthly newsletter. We do not spam you, but we do keep you up to date on the latest 10 best lists updated on a monthly basis, some with free book excerpts, audios, and also on our weekly live streaming interviews with people like Stefan and other contributors. Once again, the book is When I Was Someone Else, The Incredible True Story of Past Life Connection by Stefan Alex. Trust me, this is a riveting book. It'll stay with you long after you've read it. I still think about this book and some of the questions that it raises. So, one more thing before I close. Maya Angelou once said that there is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you. If you feel that you have a book inside you, but you haven't got a clue how to begin getting it out of your head and into the hands of those who are waiting to read it, visit my website, sedgbeer.com, click on the Work With Me tab, and find out how my experience helping others tell their stories might be just what you've been looking for. Well, that's my bookworm for this month. I'll be back again next month, and I'll be bringing you another book that I rate so highly it's become one of Sandy's favourite bookworms. So until then, stay well and enjoy the holiday season.
Thank you, Sandy. Incredible stuff. Sandy is the editor of, 5 of my books. She's just a very special lady. And I highly recommend that you check her out too. We've got some incredible people here that have been working with us, and one of them is coming up right now, and that would be Alison. Alison does incredible astrology. She's been with us for a number of years now, and she also works with the BBC, so she's been around for a while. So we'd love to hear from Alison on what's going on in the stars.
Hello everybody and welcome. So here is the astrology part of the show, and I'm looking at the astrology for the next three to 4 weeks. So I'm actually recording this at the end of November, and I have just made a note for myself here, and I thought I'd mention it, that we get a little feisty around the 25th, 26th, 27th of November. It might be something to watch for. It will be probably in relating that this will come out, and it will be about what I want versus what you want. That it will be in somebody gets boxed into a corner, and there's a little bit of a it takes relating where you give way on one side, and then the more important me number one role, and says that actually I don't want that, so that might be something to watch for anyway. So then moving into December, as usual, I'm reading from my notes here because I can't remember this lot, you know me. What have we got in store for us? I think one of the most important things coming up is this Maki-Maki Chiron opposition. Now, I have been sort of banging the drum over the dwarf planet Makemake way out there in the Kuiper Belt, and a bit of a unusual space object in our solar system called Chiron, who is one of the centaurs, but neither a planet nor an asteroid, nor it's a who knows? People call it different things. But anyway, Chiron has history, Greek history, to do with woundedness and feelings of unfairness and unjustness, and this shouldn't be happening to me. So if we just sort of encapsulate that and then look at what Makemake is all about, usually large movements in populations, pandemics, viruses, and things that affect a large group or the population of the planet. So you know where I'm going. These two started to get together at the end of 2019, and the next thing is we are gripped by the results of a virus and a pandemic, and the astrology for these two has echoed all the way through what was happening down here on the planet. Now, they are going into the last of their oppositions, and although they don't go exact to each other, they get within 2 degrees, and so this indicates that there is something coming up which will talk about pandemics, population, viruses, and it will talk about things that aren't fair and unjustified, and there'll be a why us, why me involved. And I'm questioning which way this is going to go. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is give you dates. Okay, so it's engaged now, and it gets to its peak around the 21st and 22nd of December. Okay, now let's think about what could be the result here, or what could the astrology be describing. When we get right to the end of a long series of planets going backwards and forwards and hitting each other and etc., the last time that they engage is what I've always called the healing run, which means it's the bit where everything gets put back together, and it's going to stay this way for a while. So it's like putting something to bed and knowing that you're going to leave it there for a while. Well, when we have planets which have such huge worldly meaning as these two, I have to sort of just modify that a bit. And I'm wondering, now I'll just say I'm an astrologer, right? I'm not an expert on viruses or anything else. I just read the same as everybody else does. And I have read reports from those who do know about things like this, which suggest that as a population we are now vulnerable to catching alternate different viruses that are mutating all the time as they enter our system. We're now more vulnerable because our immune systems have not been working properly for the last 2 years, because we've not been introduced to the amount of viruses and bugs and things that we normally are, which keep our immune systems in good condition. So if the army is constantly being bombarded, then the army is ready for it. If there has been no bombardment, then the army has all gone to sleep, sort of putting it like that in astrology terms. You know me. I was like, trying to make things simple, and I think, oh, that's too simple. But anyway, so now I'm not saying whether or not the astrology is pointing to this. What I'm saying is, it is interesting to note that there are those who think this could become an issue because we are vulnerable to viruses and things, bugs, that we, in a way that we haven't been before. And that somehow chimes with me, because at the end of this run between Makemake and Chiron, it makes sense to me that we see something, or something unfolds that we didn't expect. And then we're saying, really? But we did this in good faith. That's not fair. There is something about this one that says, and here is what you've done. Now, as I say, I'm no expert on this, and I might be completely wrong. I hope I am. But it's one worth watching for. This winter, we will have worries about viruses and pandemics, but not in the same way. So it's just one to watch for, as everybody rushes out and kisses everybody, hoping to get the latest cold. Quick, give me a virus update. Go around kissing all these strangers. Anyway, right. So I've covered that. Another thing that's quite important around the 21st, 22nd of December is the sun moves into Capricorn. We have the winter solstice, but also 2 other planets very recently have moved or will move signs, and that's Jupiter moving into Aries and Haumea, another of the dwarf planets, the outer planets, moving into Scorpio. This changes the scenery. So let's say we're all in a play. The scenery behind us has changed. And there are new colours. There is a new atmosphere. Now, I'm going to talk more about this in the programme in December, but I just want to make you aware of this new wash, if you like, the new winds coming in. Big planets like that, changing signs, there's always an environment change. There's always a sea change that goes with it. Okay, now I also want to talk to you about the full moon on the 8th of December, because there is such a lot going on. This is one of the feistiest, is that a word? It's one of the feistiest and one of the most dramatic and full-blown exciting full moons that I've seen recently, really. It involves a lot of masculine energy firing off in sudden directions. And it also involves Juno. Now, Juno is an asteroid who, quite frankly, doesn't like humankind. Juno does not look kindly. She was Zeus's wife, and he was always rushing off with human females and making them pregnant and then tricking her into breastfeeding them. So her milk gave them the status of being half god, half goddess, or what have you. She was very bitter and enraged a lot of the time. Now, she represents relating and relationship. Great, that's good. And she represents the whole of the continuum of relating and relationship. So from when you first look at somebody over the supermarket cheese counter to the divorce papers that you open 8 years later. She will be there on every single momentous occasion to do with your relating and your relationship. She'll be there on your wedding day, and she'll be there when you've had a big bust up. Okay, so what she means in the collective is sort of a bigger version of that. It unleashes quite a lot of wild energy, which can attach itself to a whole group or a whole clan or kith or organization. And so there can be kind of extremes of behavior and relating. So it's sort of like transpersonal relating. So it's above personal. It's sort of relating in a group. There's quite a lot, as I say, of energy there. We've got Uranus is getting involved. The Sun is squaring Juno. Mars is squaring Juno. And we've got this full moon all on the 7th and 8th. So, frankly, you've either got to you've got to adopt maybe one of two different things here. You either stay in bed for 2 days, cover yourself with a duvet and come out when it's all happened, or you get right in there and have a hoolie. Yay, this is exciting. Ha ha, look what's happened now. Oh, a bit like a cowboy western. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I'll see. I don't know if I've got the energy for it. Anyway, so that covers that one. Now, what else have we got here? Yeah, the sun is in Sagittarius. As you know, this is what I call the silly season, right? Because Sagittarius is a fire sign. It's all crazy and ridiculous. And we lose control, really. We get overconfident. We think we've got money we haven't got. We kiss the boss at the office party, and when we shouldn't have done, all this stuff. Go out, spend. Or go online, spend, whatever. It's both a blessing because, let's face it, the last month has been so deep and meaningful and emotional, that really we need the break. Oh, we so need this break. And Sagittarius couldn't care less about anything. So we've got this really light partying type mood. So that's in itself, yeah, I like that. I'm up for that. I won't go on the karaoke, but I'm up for that. So that's great. And I'm really kind of like, yeah, this will be fun. And yet there is one thing that I will just warn you about. Don't go overboard. It's okay to enjoy yourself, but with Sagittarius around, you can suddenly find yourself inflamed and do something that you think afterwards, what on earth? You know that feeling? Well, I do anyway. So there we go. So it's just a little warning. And that is it from me, Alison Chester-Lambert. And as you know, I do readings on Skype, not Zoom, Skype, because Skype's friendlier. And we can talk anytime. You can find me online, get hold of me, and we will have a lovely time having a chat and unravelling everything and sorting it all out, and you'll be very happy afterwards. Yes, really, it often happens like that, actually. So looking forward to talking to you next month, and thank you for listening. And have a fabulous holiday season. Big hugs and everything else. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Alison. Awesome. Feisty, huh? Okay, we'll watch the 8th and see how that works out, because it's coming pretty quick, isn't it? So anyway, thank you so much, Alison. Just a very special connection with her for so many years. It's been absolutely magical to see what's going on. We have one more here to bring you today. This is a new one. It's not new. You may remember a while back, I think it was several years now, but we used to have, when we had the Lightmaster course going before, we just restarted it, but we had the Lightmaster course going before, and I invited the Lightmasters to come together and take one of these segments and create some interesting things to bring. One of those segments inside of that was called the Good News segment. And that was created by Chris Morris. I've asked Chris to come on back and to be a part of the energy again, here to bring us something every month. It may not be the good news in the same way that it was, but she's good news. And she's an incredible healer in her own right. So I've asked her to come in and be a part of this as well and see how it works. We're going to also take some surveys in a little while to find out really what resonates with all of you and what you'd like to see on the global broadcast coming forward. We're not quite ready to do that, but we'll be doing that here fairly soon. So anyway, welcome again to Chris Morris.
Hi, I'm Chris Morris of Opening Spaces. You may remember me. I was here before with the Good News report, and I loved doing that. So I want to tell you a story. When I was invited back here, as I started contemplating, like, how would this fit? How would this fit with what I'm doing in my world now? What would I bring to it? I started to feel like I didn't have anything to offer. And I started to really feel like I don't have any original thoughts, all of these things, right? And I met my husband for a walk at Torrey Pines Beach here in San Diego. And by the time I met up with him, I was agitated. I was slightly pissy. And I told him right away. And so he starts asking me questions like, how can this, and how can your business, and how blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I don't know, because I can't even access that part of me right now because my system is under threat, which is actually true. There was something that didn't feel safe, and it wasn't necessarily here. It was that I couldn't bring anything that would be of value, and that felt threatening to me, right? And it was like, what if I'm not good enough? What if I, what if I fail, And so as I kind of responded to my husband in a little pissy way, he was like, well, what do you need from me? And I was like, I don't know. And so he said, okay, I'm just going to be with you. We're just going to walk, right? And so as we were walking, I started to be able to explore this, and I actually talk and solve my problems. That's one of the ways that I do that, either writing or talking. So I started talking and being like, and he just gave me room, right? He just gave me space. I was like, I don't think I'm good. I don't think I have anything to say, because when I did the good news report, I was curating. I was bringing things together. And of course, I put it in my flavor. But I didn't really have skin in the game, honestly. And also I was ignorant because I didn't even think about failing then, right? I just was like, okay, let's do it. And this time I'm like being more thoughtful about it. And so as I started being thoughtful, then I realized like all the ways that I could really not be good, which I hadn't even considered before, right? And as I considered them, my system was getting more and more freaked out. And so one of the things that I got to is that I'm not good enough, which is one of my things, and that I won't be able to bring value, and I won't please people, right? And so when I got to that, I felt it. I was like, oof, oof. And my system got quiet because I heard what my system was trying to tell me. And so I just walked with that for a few minutes. We walked with that for a few minutes. And I really felt what that was like, what if I'm not good? What if I, blah, blah, blah. And what I got to was like, I was trying to be perfect. I was trying to have something perfect, something completely well received by everybody, whatever. And I don't even value perfection. I know it doesn't exist. And I don't even value that kind of striving. But there was that part of me that got into pleaser mode, right? And we all have pleaser mode. Pleaser mode is something that's created. It's a biological survival mechanism. When we're newborn, we bond with our caregivers, our primary caregivers, through this process of pleasing. And that's because of our mirror neurons. And we pick up what we do that our caregivers like or dislike, right? Through their facial gestures. It's something that every single one of us does, unless there's something different in our brain. And and then we register what displeases our caregivers as that it displeases us. So we stop bringing those pieces to the world. We put those in the closet, in the shadow, whatever you want to call it. And we do whatever pleases the other person so we actually can survive as newborns, right? And it's a really beautiful survival mechanism for human beings. The thing that we're not taught is how to bring that authenticity back up, right? And that's something that we're all learning how to do. And as I got to that place of what was really going on, my system got quiet. And so we just walked for a bit. And then we got to these rocks. We were at the beach still. And when I sat on these rocks, I just started to get flooded with ideas, right? So it starts out like, I don't have anything to say. I don't have any original ideas. I don't know what I would bring to these people. And then I sit down and I'm literally flooded with ideas. And my husband starts talking to him and I'm like, shh, shh, I need to capture these ideas. So I do. I sit down and I capture these ideas. And it felt really good. Whether I brought them here or not, they were valuable, right? They were valuable to me. They were valuable to where I wanted to move forward into the world. And so when I finally look up, what happens is I see this gorgeous scene where it's almost sunset and it's just magical. And it got me. That got me too, right? And as we're watching this scene and looking at the scene and feeling the beauty and the magic, purely from being able to receive it, right? It's always there. Are we able to receive it? I was able to receive it because I got into this place where I was connected, right? And so as we're looking at it, this scene, there's like a sea lion that's swimming through the waves. There's this one little seagull that's just our buddy. And my husband sees a dolphin, and there's this sundog. I mean, it was like beauty is just flooding at us. I'm like, what's going to happen? There's going to be a whale spouting off the horizon. Like, what else could be added to this scene to make it even more magical? And the thing that was really wonderful is that we were able to be present and receive that. And we were able to be present and receive that because we were able to be with everything else that came before. And those pieces from before were able to alchemize and cook and move into this space of, for me at that time, it was releasing. And from that releasing, I was able to see with clear, authentic eyes, right? And so that's what I have to offer you all this month. The beauty in imperfection, right? We're all here to bring into the world our unique way that we're made, our gifts, our idiosyncrasies, our way that we see and feel and respond and interact to the world. And nobody else can do it in the way that we can. Nobody else in existence can do it the way that we can. And honestly, if each one of us became authentic and got into this safe place where we could be authentic, wouldn't that change the world? That's what I'm interested in. So that's what I have to offer you all this month. I'm so glad to be here. I am Chris Morris with Opening Spaces, and I will see you next time.
Thank you, Chris. Incredible. I'm glad she's back with us. And as you may have gathered, she's married to a very wise man. His name happens to be Steve. Steve designed the cover of this book. So thank you, Steve. Thanks for being a part of Eyes, and welcome back, Chris. Welcome back. Okay, I'm going to take a very short break and do the only commercial that we do. It's about the new directions seminars that we're going to be doing coming up pretty soon. And we wanted to be able to bring that to you. So welcome, and let me bring that to you. And then we'll be right back with the final channel from the group. And we do know that Merlia is coming in. So hang on. Here we go. Welcome, Lightworkers of planet Earth. I'm Steve Rother. I'm the channel for the group. We're going to do something very special this next month in December. The first 2 days of the month, first 2 Fridays of the month, which is on the 2nd of December and the 9th of December. The group is going to present the next level of the work. It's called New Directions. You may notice that even a few months ago, we had the Great Reset. This was basically where everybody took the rug of planet Earth and shook everything and landed in new places. Well, a lot of people had life-changing events take place. Some people just simply were trying to get through without being scathed. But now we're at the point where the energy settled a little bit, starting to come up with new directions, new possibilities, and new paths. Last month, we did a whole 7 energy centers talking about places that you could work with in the body that would help you basically find your purpose. Well, now that those purposes are here, those paths are starting to open up. So we're going to spend 2 days talking about those paths, talking about the possibilities and how to create an exciting lifestyle going forward. The group wants to give their perspective from the other side of the veil, and we're going to be doing it the first 2 days. You can join us for those 2 days, for those 2 days alone, Or you can join the Light Master group, which not only gets those 2 days, but gets 3 other days every single month, where we're working with a continual basis. We'd love for you to come join us, come see all about what your purpose is on planet Earth, and find out where your passions lie. It's an exciting time to be alive. We know it's been scary for many, but you know what? If we just hold hands, we can change lives everywhere. It is time. Welcome home, everybody. Aspavo. Greetings, dear ones. I am Merlia. I join you with such great joy. Yes, you have challenges on planet Earth. That's kind of what you signed up for when you first came here, but you are handling it much better than we ever imagined. These were times of great difficulty. Many of your prophecies from long ago talked about great wars to end the planet, to end all of societies in different ways. Now, things have opportunities. You have chances because you've grabbed your power in a different way. And we are so proud from this side of the veil. Yes, this is only the beginning. And yes, of course, there's more challenges and difficulties as you would see them coming. But we're not concerned. You see, the greatest of angels have landed upon planet Earth. They've gone through the difficulties they needed to go through to be in the proper place at the right time. And here you are, carrying that light, holding that beauty, holding the rising feminine energy. Not necessarily that the feminine is better than the masculine. You need the balance. That is the part that you're working on. But it has been out of balance so far, and rightfully so. You must understand that in the early days of mankind, force was necessary. It was actually the survival of the fittest. Now, what if it is the survival of the loveliest, of those who can love the most, those who can open their heart and connect in different ways? That's not easy in your times. The times that you live in right now have been predestined for a long time, and yet you are changing all of that. We are so incredibly overjoyed. Yes, we know you're in difficulties, but look beyond the first next step. Look beyond what is right in front of you at the larger picture, and you'll see quite a bit of joy that's coming. Now, you are a pendulum. You swing back and forth all the time. That is your nature. So do not get discouraged if suddenly things start moving in different directions and you don't see the advancement that you've been working so hard to attain. It is truly only the beginning of that. And yes, it will swing back and forth for a while. But the more important part is how long it stays. And as you well know, it's been out of balance for a very long time. In the beginning of mankind, that has ensured the survival of mankind. So it served its purpose. But now things are shifting around. Now things are starting to rise. Your spirit is using your societies and your own physical bodies differently than you ever have before. That takes some getting used to, of course. Not an easy transition by any stretch of the imagination. But here you are, at critical junctures of time-space, where you can make a difference of the open heart, where you can anchor light and make space for the divine feminine to once again visit the planet. Now, we've mentioned that you have been on other planets. Yes, you're not the only game in town, dear ones. There are many planets even to this day, more than you can count with your numbers. And there are more life forms than you know about, of course. But your own life form has visited this solar system before. And Mars was actually the place. It was a fascinating time. But we tell you there, The feminine energy was out of balance. So as you came to a new place, as you came to a new visitation, and you basically started the game over in many ways, what took place is you went the opposite direction. Have you noticed that your children do the same thing? If you are one way, your children are probably going to go a different direction. If you have a certain belief system, they're probably going to try and believe something else. That is nature. And again, humanity swings back and forth. It's not so much about where you are in any moment, but it's the larger aspect of who you are. You are redefining all of humanity at this point. So the idea is to start having a harmony, is to start working with both sides, to honor the masculine, to honor the feminine, and to bring it together in a new combination that will allow you to extend not only life on Earth, but much of throughout the universe. Because, dear ones, you are being watched. You're not the only game in town, and there are many that have actually all eyes upon you at this very time to see what you're doing. One of the biggest aspects that we tell you about is fear. Yes, things can be manipulated to intentionally put you into fear. You have just seen that, and yet you rose above it. We are so thrilled to see just the beginnings of it. Just the very essence of who you are is starting to emerge in a new way. Absolutely beautiful. Well done, dear ones, well done. Your work is just beginning in many ways. And if you make space for all around you to be able to work together, yes, the physical bodies of the masculine are different than the physical bodies of the feminine. Yes, it's why you have different aspects of things and you have different... We find it interesting that you have different sports. You have women's sports and you have men's sports because the men are typically a little bit stronger. That is actually a result of being in the masculine energy for so long. And we tell you that if you were actually to combine those two together, not at the beginning because it would take some time to adjust, but if you were actually to combine those two together, the women would actually succeed in winning most of the sports matches. It's fascinating to do because you rise to the competition around you. So when women are playing other women, they rise to a certain level, and men playing other men. And we tell you that not because we're interested in you finding the best sports, but it is actually an allegory for what is going on your planet right now. Blend it together. You have everything in front of you right now that you would need to bring the higher vibrations of the new planet Earth here, right now. Do that, and the planet harmonizes with you. And yes, 8 billion is a huge number. It is a massive number on the planet right now. And the Earth is struggling to be able to support that, to be able to have the resources, especially with some of the challenges that have happened ever since the Holocene has been broken. The Holocene is almost 11,000 years of planet Earth, the last 11,000 years, where you've only had 1 degree of temperature change. Yes, you have broken that. It has shifted. So new adjustments must be made, and she is going through everything she can right now to make those adjustments. And you will know where she ends up with this, because in a fairly short time, things will either level off a bit and then eventually start to get better, or they will continue to get worse. You are not in trouble either way. You are spirits. You have capabilities far beyond your understanding. And by working with your spirit while it is in the physical body, the way you are doing even in this course, is opening the door far beyond what has been opened before. Much further than what you had on Mars, and much further than you've ever had on Earth. The spirits of the humans are wonderful. When you can finally compare yourself to some of the other aspects of other life forms in the universe, you'll understand that. Yes, some are further advanced with you in certain ways, and some of them have actually started to break down their own multidimensionality and to bring back into some of their perfection as well. But humans have the capabilities of going far beyond that, which is why you are setting the pace for all that is. You're creating new opportunities and new energies everywhere you go. Yes, it's difficult to see sometimes, and we know many of you are struggling just to make the next steps. But as you do, know that you have energy behind you. And we will be there to work with you any way we can, to give you that confidence, to work with you to bring that light back into your hearts. Smile when you can. Know that you are carrying light in your physical being. And every time you take a step, you leave a trail of light behind you that someone else can inhabit, that someone else can use to find their own light. Speak often, fear not, and enjoy the ride. I am Merlia. I am the feminine aspect of Merlin. And I am so proud of the divine feminine on planet Earth. Well done, dear ones. Well done. Treat each other with respect, nurture one another, and play well together. As I leave you now for a short time. But I am here always and watching from afar. Well done. Come up and see me sometime. Spavo. Okay, we bring another one to the close here. It's been a wonderful, wonderful day, and I got to tell you, it didn't start out too well. I ordered a new cell phone and they lost it somewhere. UPS just disappeared. So anyway, I came in here kind of cranky and, or as Chris says, kind of pissy. I've never experienced that one before. So anyway, I'm so overjoyed to do this. Thank you all for letting me play this role. I love you more than you could possibly know, and I really appreciate all of your support and the energies around you. So let me bring that to you a little bit further and share with you just the final aspects of today, because we do want to help all of us remember who we are. A special thanks to the following Lightworkers for their help in the production of Spavo TV. Meg Adamson was not here today, but she's returning. She's a presenter. You can find out a lot about her. She does private sessions at megadamsonhypnotherapy.com. Check it out. On top of that, here it is right here. And you did hear from Alison today. She's also a presenter on a regular basis, our astrologer. Does an awesome job. AlisonChester-Lambert.com. She does private sessions as well. Excellent work. We do have much more going on. Our hero of the month, the person who really helps save the website, is Nick Pneumatikos. And he's in Greece, which is why I have such difficulty saying his last name sometime. But I'm getting better. He's our webmaster. Thank you, Nick. Well done, my friend. And we also have Gail. Oh, Kathy Moran. I forgot to tell you about Kathy. Kathy is our support services. She's the one that answers the help desk. And she organizes things and just does an incredible job of making us look good. So thank you, Kathy, for your incredible work. We appreciate it. Gail Harris is also one of the people who's with us as a producer. She, again, kind of checks over a lot of what we're doing, looks for some of the mistakes that I so regularly make, and helps correct a lot of the things that we're all doing here together. So know that we're all in this together, everybody. Thank you so much for being with us here today. It's been an incredible day. I hope we were able to fill you with a little bit of light, a little bit of hope, and a little bit of love, because it's time. We're all going to be stepping into the next month together, and then we're going to be stepping into a new year. We can change everything if we just hold hands. It's the key to all the aspects. Thanks for being with us. Spavo.